I chose a title in Hindi for this episode because, well, the language and the phrase are so apt to best describe the contents of this episode. And for those who don't understand Hindi, the title states that the corrupt and the uncouth shout the loudest. I'm sure no one has any doubts about the veracity of this statement. We're all witness to this phenomenon, especially in the present in our body politic. I will not take names to acquaint you of those who indulge in this behavior because all of you are familiar with the dramatis personae of this narrative. If you want finger pointing, then you can switch on any television news channel. In this forum, we analyze why some people do what they do and what motivates them. So, without any ado, let us plunge in the darkened world of the corrupt and the foul-mouthed and understand why they shout over the rooftops to be heard. But before I do that, a very warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch this video podcast, press the big red subscriber button on your screen. Subscription is, of course, completely free. So, the corrupt always wear a cloak before they croak their lies. And therefore, we need to understand what is this cloak. This is the cloak of socialism, of a freebie culture, a distributive theory of economic management in which the money of hard-working taxpayers are taken without their consent and say-so and flung in the bottom endless pit of a goodies and freebies ecosystem to bribe voters in giving such people votes and bringing them to power. This is the cloak worn by a species of people who supposedly take the high moral ground in advocating the rights of the downtrodden and the oppressed, but in the process divide society, polarize people to garner votes to be voted to power. In short, we are now witness to a new class of rulers who, in the name of social justice, pervert the very canons of justice for personal aggrandizement and profit and gain. So many of this species are trapped in scams like Liquorgate and the conversion of public trusts into entities worth hundreds and thousands of crores which they have attempted to pocket. And it is these people who sing and shout the loudest. They invade our television screens in political advertisements paid for by monies of honest taxpayers like you and me. They land up on foreign shows inviting foreign intervention in our country. They instigate riots in the country to polarize society on religious lines. And yet, there is no let-up in their shouting and protest. Common sense would dictate that the corrupt and the criminal-minded would keep quiet and go about their nefarious lifestyle quietly, in stealth, without attracting too much attention. And yet, the opposite is true. And we need to ask, why is that the case? There are two fundamental reasons why this thinking has been turned on its head. We live in an interconnected world, and especially in large parts of the Western world, a woke culture prevails where, in the name of social justice, the rights of the oppressed minorities and climate change, many people have got a free pass to push through divisive agendas and divide and polarize societies. This woke agenda puts such people in pole positions of power. It also benefits the ecosystem of hanger-ons or the bottom feeders. The bottom feeders include sections of the media, the intelligentsia in universities, the not-for-profit stakeholders. Goodies come their way in the form of business contracts, extended terms and tenures in universities, scholarships, and all paid for trips, UN assignments and grants stretching for years. This woke system and culture of men and women who have jockeyed to power by dividing society and its subterraneous culture of bottom feeders is not only prevalent in the West, but also in India. But in India, this culture has been disrupted by the present regime, and therefore the loud continuing protests from the top brass and the bottom feeders of this culture. And as they say in Hindi, if you take away the niwala or the morsel from the poor person's mouth, he will not protest too much because he is used to deprivation. But if you take away the niwala or the morsel from the mouth of the entitled, then they will protest the loudest. And this is what is happening right now in our body politic. And secondly, we live in the digital age, where the scope for distorting everything, be it on film or tape or on print or in podcast, is enormous. Everything that is said or filmed can be distorted. The lies factory works overtime to spin narratives, distort reality and the truth, and churn out manufactured versions of the simple truth. It is due to these two reasons Chor, machaye, shor. The corrupt and the uncouth shout the loudest. Notice the spate of personal invective directed against the Prime Minister, all in the name of freedom of expression. And this is where the purveyors of falsehood and crudeness forget one simple thing. They assume it is macho to speak with disrespect of the Prime Minister. They think the deprived and the poor condone and like such behavior. And this is where they are completely mistaken. This country has completely changed in the last few years. We have become an aspirational society. Kids of a higher social strata want to settle abroad. Kids that are less deprived want to take the places of the well-off kids and get into the IITs and medical colleges and institutions of repute. In short, the parents of the deprived society want their kids to sit on the same high table as kids of well-off families. Do our wannabe, self-deluded, crudity-spouting politicians seriously think such an aspirational mass of people have the time or the inclination or the patience to accept their crude and abusive behavior? An aspirational people not only aspire to a better life, but also better manners and value systems of the people higher up in the food chain above them. This simple truism escapes the chor who machaye shor all the time. And so on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you really enjoyed this particular episode and you like our show, do subscribe to us. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my end.